And welcome to the start of round 3 on SRL TV, the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. It's kicked off with a doubleheader here at ANZ Stadium. I'm Ollie Parche, joined by Lachlan Martin for a matchup between the Parramatta Eels taking on the Canberra Raiders. Probably the biggest mismatch we'll have of a round. But Lachlan, there's two very interesting changes that have been made to either side.
Yeah, look, both sides were elected to make a few changes heading into this match. Obviously, the Raiders, Captain Gaval was elected to put himself on the bench for this match in favour of giving Lecky to an opportunity to show his worth, the young rookie, getting his first start in the SRL. We're just going to see how that plays out. Gaval, where he plays, if he goes on in the second role, maybe he has a different role in mind for himself. On the other end, we have the Eels, have made the decision to move it to the centre back to lock after he was moved to the second row last week, with Jordan Ford and Luke Short rounding at that front row rotation after Ford played the first 2 rounds at second row. Very interesting change by both sides. The pack reshuffle from both could go. It's going to be interesting to see how they play out in this clash.
Indeed, as we are underway, of course, both captains have made changes. Luke Short has elected to don the red hair as part of his lost bet with Jordan Williams of the Brisbane Broncos, and has also donned the green boots to pay tribute to former Raider Jack O'Neill, who has announced his retirement at the end of the season. Jack, hope you have all the best after this season ends. As now the Raiders will commence their attack. Maivia with a step, wrapped up quickly by McKay on halfway. Matter Oos and now Barnes, but Barnes quickly wrapped up, and the first set Raiders look like they'll be forced to punt here.
Yeah, good first set there by the Raiders, just going up the field there. All have key playmakers, Luke Thompson and Eli Barnes, getting their hands on the ball, dictating terms early on. Great start there from the Raiders, but that's not a great kick chase there.
Yeah, Mendonca had a lot of room to move through and ended up getting a good 30 meters. Offload away over to Settendag, and Settendag just be wrapped up by James there, but not before he pushes past the Raiders 40. Short ball. Tackled briefly by Allen and was driven back in the tackle. Neiman over to Evans. McKay bobbles, regathers. It doesn't get too far away from him to run into a Raiders player and give it away. Give it over to Evans. Now Ford. Ford playing the prop position this time. I think it was in second row previously. Tackled right at the edge of the red zone. Raymond back for Evans. Evans will put up the high ball. Looks to be a little bit lost underneath it, but Barnes has it. He's able to get a kick chase away, though. His short was quick to it and brings him down right close to his own line. Thompson will look to swing it out quickly to Laumu, but is wrapped up right in the corner of the park. They will have a very difficult time likely trying to get out of here unless they can force a break. Not there from Wally Allen. He runs right into short, but does still gain a good amount of post-contact meters to at least get back to where the line was. Lewis, though, now breaking free, and Jordan Lewis ends up beating Kennedy. Forced a wide offload. Settendag looked like he should have had that one. They didn't end up capturing it, but they do get back to Eels territory. Lewis again takes another run against McKay, and that time wrapped up cleanly for the last tackle. Later, James. Thompson will be able to receive that one and decides to kick down to Mendonca once more. Was able to break off a good line break last time, does again this time, and now he might end up going all the way here. Mendonca's being chased down and ends up being taken to the 30. I think that was by Thompson, who ended up getting back in defense, but Thomas Mendonca already clocking up the meters here early on.
Great run there by Mendonca. He didn't have to capitalise off it, though.
Yep, he takes another run right from the center of the park, but is driven back there by Feu. Into Raymond, now Ford. Ford ends up taking advantage of an offside. Feu, ball was knocked down. He gathered by Cherry Evans. Will be zero tackle. Canberra will have to defend off her own line here. Now Short. Trying to bring it close, but can't quite get even a sniff of a line. It is brought down there. Short ball now for McDonald. McDonald trying to get over. Near the numbers, couldn't do so there. Raymond inside ball for Cherry Evans. Evans is getting over line, but there's 3 involved. Line will have a look, but that is likely held up.
Yeah, good defense here by the Raiders. They're going a little bit too wide out here for Eels. They need to sort of spread their back. They have Kennedy and Harris, who have not had many touches in this set, ever has to get the ball to them. They're the playmakers to the side. They're the ones that have to touch it close to the line.
Yep. We'll have to play there due to being held up. Settendag will take the one-up run. Let's see where they look this time. They do go to Evans once more. Evans does get the ball out there to Freeburn, but Freeburn is driven back on the last. And Canberra might be able to hold out here if they can just defuse this kick. Raymond to Evans. Evans right center of the park. If it has it. Great move there to make sure that the Raiders survive the early scares.
Yeah, that's disappointing there from the Eels. They didn't really show much attack in the set. Evans didn't really provide as much spark as he would have hoped there. Him being the main playmaker touch the ball. In fact, other than him, Raymond, Kennedy, and Harris didn't do much of anything. So that's disappointing stuff there overall from the Eels, considering the amount of opportunities they had.
Yeah, it seems like Harris only got one touch on second tackle as that one was a bit thrown away. There is Maivia that had it after a run on the edge by Feu. It ended up being sent out and intercepted as short, is leveled there by Sam Lillard. Number 8 on number 8, and the hit is hefty. Now they look to the right side of Harrison Kennedy, but that's immediately snuffed out. Maivia, however, caught off guard here. Cribb now able to sidestep through. Barnes has to come up to the line to try and make the tackle here. Can they take advantage? About 13 out. Raymond goes over to forward, and sure, they only sent it through the forward, so jinx on. Attempt to try and step. Raymond out to Evans, and Evans again will put up a bomb. This time to the left edge, and Jason Laumu underneath it. Out jumps Crimp, I think it was. Over on that far side of the field. Barnes now with a step on short.
And once again, the Eels showed no real attack there. They had Michael Crimp do a little bit of play, but other than that, Kennedy and Harris and Evans were all wrapped up relatively easily. I'm not sure where this Eels attack has to come from, because all of them have been wrapped up way too easily for what you'd expect from your spine.
Yeah, they really haven't been able to evade the Raiders defenders. As with a good tackle there by Short, looked almost like a shoulder charge admittedly, but was fair enough. Thompson will elect for the early kick. There's no one back of that wing, but he's misjudged it, and it's out of the full.
And another opportunity will present themselves for the Eels. I mean, it's 3 errors that a row by the Raiders. Look at another set here for the Eels. They have to capitalise eventually. The Raiders are gifting them opportunities at this rate. Poor kick there by Thompson. It never looked like staying in there. It had the right idea, but just sort of just swayed away there. Wind caught hold of it. And now the Eels once more have another attacking opportunity.
It did kind of sail on him there by the looks of things, as the Eels will get another good start here, but I feel like the Raiders' goal line defense has been so sound that it's going to be very difficult to break through. They probably need to do it on this tackle. Harris over to Settendog, tries the offload inside to Raymond. Raymond is brought down. Probably gain less meters than if he just took the tackle, but perhaps he's just looking for that. Russell, inside ball. Harris driven back there. Good tackle there from Tua. They back to Raymond. Now Settendog over across to Evans. Will take him out of the play here, so they'd likely have to bring Harris over. They'll look. They might go to someone else here. They go to Settendog. Settendog will put up the kick, and underneath it is again Barnes. And Barnes puts on a step, and there he goes. Here he goes. And it's a great try for the Raiders. Right after they've been pinned back, they finally break through.
What a run there from Eli Barnes. Takes the catch. We know what he can do. He gets past one defender and then he's away. That 99 speed's really helping. It has to be up there with the quickest players in the league. He's just so elusive when he gets the ball in his hands. And the Eels have all the possession, but the Raiders strike first.
Yeah, I mean, you put up those many kicks that Eli Barnes can take, and eventually he can break off a kick return. So lethal with that, just adding yet another try to his already impressive repertoire. I do believe we mentioned previously that he got his 30th try last game, so that'll make number 31. Rather impressive.
Yeah, great stuff there by Barnes. Really, really quality stuff, and once again, he's just showing how good of a footballer he is. And the Raiders strike first. I don't know if they've been outside of their own half, other than that runaway try there, but they got to score first, and now the Eels are under pressure already, and they haven't, other than that one play, the Raiders have not looked good so far with all the errors. They have to quit this.
Yeah, I think they've only been able to get inside the Eels 30 on that occasions. They were definitely in Raiders territory before then. Either way, now they look to try and build on that with Feu taking this third run. Short ball for Lewis. Lewis escaping through. The markers were caught out there. Kennedy has to come across there, and they do breach for Eels 30 this time around. A good line break there from Lewis. Their front row forwards have been doing work here, Lewis and Lillard. Mataus, long ball out. There's Lillard, and Short gave him a bit of payback for earlier. Lillard to James, goes to Mataus. Mataus a grubber kick that was wide out. Taken by Allen. Wally Allen's going to try and push here against Brody Kennedy. Try and get his ball down, but it's going to be turned over. Thanks to Luke Short taking the legs. And that is a huge tackle, a try saver from Brody Kennedy. But perhaps there might be some Raiders going up for 6 again. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah, it sure does for the Raiders fans. I thought maybe there was a touch of by Eels' hands on the way through. The ref said play on. Allen picked it up. I thought he was going to go over there. Great defense there by Kennedy though to just get under that ball with the hope of Luke Short. And the Eels survive, but they're hanging on by a thread here. With how much ball they've had, they should be not down in this game. They've had too much ball to be down at the moment.
Yeah, it's just not been much lethality in attack there. There's McDonald trying to procure something. Did break through the line a bit, and then Settendog was brought down there. Work there by James. Well, I wasn't sure where primary was in that one. Evans with a long kick. It's down there for Demando. The form through here. Up Benchel. Mataus now over to Tua. He's driven back in a tackle. As we mentioned before, Tua, the first Raiders rookie, I believe, to receive a start. We, of course, have Charlie Rossini. We'll be waiting to come on here, where he'll be deputizing Vo Allen over to Laumu. Brought down 43 out from his own line. James over to Thompson. Might have looked 40-20. Instead, just gives over to Lillard. We'll play up almost right on halfway. Mataus also was likely looking for 40-20, but didn't have the right positioning for it. He kicks over to the edge of Crimp, and Maivia very well there to bring him down at a quarter of the way up the park. All over to Harris. Harris is leveled. That was a hefty shot there. I believe it was Lillard again. Yes, it was, but laid it on. Ford ends up putting a shoulder into a potential Tim James tackle, though, but Barnes comes up and snuffs it out. We didn't mention this earlier on in the broadcast, but Blake Harris did say that he wanted to move to Queensland, never a beat of the Firehawks, or to Broncos, or to the Cowboys. A lot of people were unhappy with that move, for saying that he should have handled things better, but that's for another matter. Demando there, breaking through a tackle, now trying to go up against Kennedy, try to beat him to the edge, couldn't do so. Didn't end up forcing him over the line, instead just off a tackle and was turned back in field. Mataus over to James. Looks like the changes have been made for them as well as they bring their bench forwards on. Mataus over to Laumu. Laumu tried to put on a step there, but McDonald just took the body.
Yeah, great stuff here from the Raiders at the moment. Just sort of pushing up field, just slowly winning the field position battle. The Eels have to do something to get them sort of back into this game. I think it's going to be for the wingers. Michael Tripp and Thomas McDonald probably look the most likely so far when they've got their hands on the ball. And I think those are the ones that have to get the ball to. If they get those guys can get their hands on the ball, they can definitely do something. They've looked the most
likely they do on this
far.
occasion. Mataus with a short chip kick over to Crimp, but Crimp's not able to wrap that one through. He was wrapped up there by Maivia. It's now to Settendog. Short ball for McKay. As well, Parramatta have made their own changes as a tackle from Aaron Leondis. Harris over to Schmidt. Logan Schmidt, another of the rookie class. Tua will be eyeing him up, given that Logan Schmidt was a second-round pick, I believe, in the draft. To Harris. Harris will send it over to Kennedy. Here he comes. Brody Kennedy finally breaking through here and getting himself a good run, but ends up being Barnes that comes up and wins the duel on that occasion. Harris now put in it's right into a place. Looks like it had gone in a touch.
Much better kick there from, I think that was Blake Harris there.
Yeah.
Just kicking it up crossfield, finding the corners. The Raiders now going to be trapped inside the row 10. A beautiful kick there, actually. Bounced 90 metres next to the in-goal line for the Raiders. The Raiders will be now stuck down inside the row 10. The Eels need to defend well. They cannot let the Raiders get a move on here. Just keep them down here, put pressure on, and maybe potentially force an error.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted a career, maybe you could move over to a American Football League as a punter as Tua breaks through. That's a beautiful coffin corner kick from Harris, but of course, Wasn't able to find anything that he really wanted. Feo, risky ball there to Barnes, who as soon as he got it, McKay and Schmidt just restrained him. Over to Mataus. Now Tua. Tua trying to get through that tackle of Russell, but can't do so. That's going to be Russell rolling over him and gives away a penalty.
Yeah, this is not what the Eels need. The penalty now conceded after what looked like a good start. Maybe still done to change possession over, change the momentum in this game. But just like they give a penalty now for Raiders, we have another set inside the Eels territory. We actually really haven't had many opportunities inside the Eels territory. We've just been really good when they have. Let's see what they can do now. The Eels, they're going to be very hard. They have to defend well here because I don't know if they'll be able to stop them.
The Demando there was stuffed there. Crimp did well. Helped out there by, I believe, Russell on that edge. Here over to Mataus, and now Tua. Actually, Shannon Freeburn on that edge. No, Freeburn's on the edge with Mendonca. I was right the first time. Oh, no. Barnes now pulls on a step. Now going against Kennedy. Beats him to the line. Did have the ball, but was it grounded?
I think he held on to this. It looked like it was a great attempt there by Kennedy. There we go. Barnes has gone over for a double. This is becoming bad for the Eels. Barnes, he just touches the ball and magic just happens around him.
You just let him get loose, and then it's just an absolute goose chase. They've tried to shut him down before, Parramatta, but that time he just got a bit too much open field and took it on. Kennedy couldn't beat him to the post. As such, Raiders find themselves with a chance to make it 12. It's the Barnes and Thompson, that lethal combination, and is successful in that. I have to say, though, this Parramatta defense has been a lot sounder than I think a lot of people would have given them credit for.
Yeah, look, I think they've definitely managed to keep the Raiders, inside their own 50, which is definitely a plus for Parramatta. But I think, again, whenever the Raiders manage to get inside their 30, most of the time they've made them pay. It's just their goal line defense needs to be better, or their goal line defense needs to be better overall. But when they have been inside the 50, like just there, they're managing to keep the Raiders from getting inside their half. It's just when they do get inside their half, that's where they've struck.
Yep. I mean, they nearly did have one with Wally Allen, but when Barnes got the runaway, and the other time, well, you just saw it. Eli Barnes just got a run from basically 30 out. So it's not really been goal line defense. It's been general defensive zone issues. It's Mataus here. Kick off the left side of the boot. Did get deep and did well to have Kennedy only have to pick it up about 8 out from his own line. Turns back, makes a move. Tackled there by Barnes, and the rest of the kick chase there to help him out. Now to McKay. Over to Schmidt. 3-man tackle there. Everyone getting involved right now for the Raiders. They are really putting up some strong team defense there. And as I say that, McDonald bursts through, gets a pass out to Freeburn. Freeburn, however, was met well by Laumu. Well, to monitor the situation and make sure nothing else developed. Down to Settendag. Up there by Leondis. Does get past the 40. Out to McKay. Now for Kennedy. Goes again, but that time again it's Leondis there. Shutting it down before anything. Play it there and will likely force a punt out. It'll be Evans to do so from just outside the Raiders 40 over to Marshall Edwards. Haven't called his name yet. His first run isn't much to speak about. It does end up setting them up once again as Leondis through once more. Tackled by Kennedy and Schmidt. Can they take advantage of this? The fullback is well up the field. Barnes now over to Edwards. Edwards the step. Kennedy's going to get back in position to make the tackle, but it does still allow them another 25 meters. This is the defensive zone issues that we mentioned. Laumu. Oh, Farah might have been not square there. But he definitely was not, but they say it was legal there. James himself goes for a third scoot out of dummy half. Raiders are starting to throw themselves at it because they know they can position for a solid kick here. What they do here with Feu. Feu with a well-weighted one. Kennedy wears the feet. The feet were not in goal. Play on call. Makes 1-2 men miss, but eventually wrapped up by Allen. That could have nearly been in big trouble for the Eels had Kennedy been able to break one free.
Great catch there by Brodie Kennedy. Just up and, managed to outleap a couple really big attackers there. Eli Barnes included. taken there. I thought he's been unlucky not to say it was a near goal. I thought it was a near goal personally, but they said nope, he was out. Made good work with it, not get trapped in the near goal though. Stepping a couple, making about 10 meters there. Better work, better defense there by the Eels again. But definitely defending alright. It's just a couple moments that they've lost that have led to their 2 tries.
I have to agree with that. Aside from that, they have been structurally sound, and I do think that maybe he just did have a 1 foot in goal, that back foot, but then still trying for jump, and as a result, that's what making it play. Sure, the referees union will be having a look at that one to see what they think of the decision. Marshall Edwards was tackled there right on halfway. Given out to Laumu, but Laumu didn't get very far. Comes over to Thompson. Spreads it wide for Mataus to meet McKay and Schmidt, and both took the shoulders. None of them took the legs. He gets the drive. Out of the 40, there now Barnes. Barnes will try and get to the edge here. Oh, he tried to put a little move on Kennedy. Made him think to go to the post, but instead wanted to go to the post, plural. Ended up not duking him out. He was there to give himself a small victory. Last tackle with Leondis 5 out. Mataus, high bomb, left edge. Who's underneath it? It's going to be Crimp in goal. And that'll be a set restart for Parramatta with a 7 tackle set and the optional kick on the 20.
Yeah, great catch there once again by Crimp. Had Xavier Demando, I think it was under. It might have been John Boy Marvin, my mistake. Even so, great catch there from Michael Crimp. And once more, the Eels just survived there, and their defense is getting a lot better. They've definitely shown they can defend on their goal line. It's just a couple moments that they would like to have back, and their attack still needs to be better. They're not showing really much when they have the ball in their hands.
Indeed, they haven't, but perhaps they could do more with his 7 tackles. They will look for that one. Russell stops, starts, goes, then goes through, and just tackled on the 40 there by Barnes. This is a perfect time now. If they can get to Harris and Kennedy, they might be able to halve this margin. But however, they spread to Raymond and Schmidt and allows Barnes to reposition on the last. Try and take this kick. Give it over to Harris. Harris's kick will be towards Demando. He will be tackled right about 15 out and driven back. 2.5 minutes left to play here in this first half. Feu puts a shoulder through McKay, tries to take on another rookie in Schmidt. The veteran not able to apply his dominance just yet. James over to Mataus. Short ball Leondis. Leondis driven back. A couple of minutes remaining now. Will likely be last chances for each side to score. Mataus out to Barnes. Barnes takes an offload away for Tua. Look at the help defense though. It's McKay and Schmidt both working together quite strongly. Here out to Mataus. Oh, wow. Tried to do a nice switch play there, and I did enjoy it, but it hit Lillard, who just took it and ended up being positioned in a forward spot. So referee calls for a pass, and that's allowed Kennedy to break free here. Kennedy, however, Barnes got to him, just able to cover it off, but now it looks like the Eels will have a minute or so to try and siege the line. Evans out to Raymond, spread wide Harris. Harris driven back. The tackle there by the other half in Mataus. Laid back for Raymond. Nettendog over to McKay. McKay might have a shot here. No. Called hell. Tackle 4 there. They'll have a look. No held up there, says Sam Marin. Jordan Ford there but try to go over, but now the time ticking down here. Harris once more, making himself out of a play by running it up himself. A good tackle from Turamata who stopped it.
Oh, no.
Raymond, oh dear. The guard didn't work and Ford and Russell end up giving it up. 5 seconds left here for anything, and Lillard will just take the run, and that's hiring goes. Canberra will take it to the break. 12 points to 0.
Shake, come over here, now scream.
And welcome back to the second half of this SRL TV first matchup in the doubleheader. Parramatta Eels currently down by 12 at home against the Canberra Raiders, and I think that's probably been a shock to some on how sound Parramatta has mostly been in defence for this match.
Yeah, look, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again here, but, you know, Parramatta, they've just lost 2 moments in the game which have led to tries. Other than that, overall their defence has been definitely sound for the most part. Raiders aren't really getting outside their 50. When they're on their goal line, they've had a couple of really good catches by most notably Michael Crimp and, well, you have as
Barisic passed through Leonidas, made Barnes miss, ended up nearly being caught there, got the pass out to Harris on the offload, is ended up being run down though by Maivia. Quickly, or they just want to prove that they have what it takes to try and score, immediately opening up. Clearly Luke Short fired them up after Barisic got his first touch on the footy. Now Evans go to Freeburn, and the Raiders have to show that their goal line defence is still solid. Even after those 40 minutes, Cherry Evans gets a grubber kick in. It's over there, Kennedy! Just got it before it ran out. And Brody Kennedy hits back 2 minutes into this first half.
Yeah, Brody Kennedy, the only player that seems to be able to score for the Eels, obviously getting a hat-trick, scoring all 3 of the tries last for the Broncos. Gets the first one here for the Eels. It was Cherry Evans, who's had his hands on the ball all night, finally gets something to pay off here. Grubber kick through. Kennedy just gets there just in time. Barnes was in a good position, and Kennedy scores the first try for the Eels. If they get this kick, they'll only be down by 6 Eels.
And just to make it a 1-possession game. Yeah, I mean, we saw the goal line defense had been mostly sound, but that time we just a grubber kick, and as well as Justin Barisic just putting on a hell of a run, just ran through, I believe it was his opposite number 16, Rahul Kavar, but I very well could be wrong on it. No, it was Aaron Leonidas, the 15. Man put a move on Barnes to nearly break free, but whilst being a forward, he was eventually going to be caught. Man, would have been huge for Big Boy season. He'd have been able to score that one.
Yeah, well, Barisic does a great run. It's interesting too, because I believe he just came off the bench too, having sit on the bench for the first 40 minutes here today. Just had a massive first touch. Got the offload to Blake Harris, who wasn't as quick as I thought he was, to be honest there, Blake Harris. Maybe he just wasn't able to get into full flight there, but he was run down there by John Boy Maava. But the Eels have shocked us all to start this half, and, well, now they're only down by 6.
They've been able to halve that margin, which they've been looking to do. After giving up that second try to Barnes, and looking to press forward once more. Here's Short. Short is held down there by both James and Leonidas. Or Leonidas, rather. So, quick let off there for the Eels to perhaps start in Raiders territory with this next set.
This is going to be a test of the Raiders defense now. They've just given away a penalty. Eels are going to be inside their own half. They want it, the Eels. You can tell. I can see the hunger in them in this so far to start the second half. The Raiders defense will be tested here, I have a feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, perhaps it's just the Eels that saw that they stayed in it with the first half. They have been kind of known by Captain Luke Shaw to be called the second half Eels, and perhaps it'll be the same case here where they're able to finally fire up in those final 40 minutes and produce a huge upset victory. Short over to McDonald. McDonald wrapped up there by Leonidas and Allen. Allen was very strong in his tackling there, and he had 14 tackles on this, the most of any of the Raiders, and I believe in the entire match thus far. Harris high ball. Waiting to see who gets underneath it. I think that was forced back. But taken in 20-meter.
Yeah, overall, that said, it was alright by the Eels, but probably a little bit too deep of the kick there by Blake Harris. Obviously, Blake Harris forced the kick with their main playmaker, Cherry Evans, taken out of the equation after being tackled there on the last. The Raiders get the ball back. This will be the first set they have of the half. Let's hope they can get some ball back, because the Eels, they look hungry in the second half, and I'm really liking what they're showing to begin this second half. That was a juggle there.
Oh, Arnold had a bit of a juggle. Yeah, you mentioned that. The first touch of a football and nearly 6 minutes into it, it's not great scenes for them. Allen now trying to take a tough run up. Actually takes out the 40-20 from the equation. Cavala's come on over to Demando. Worth noting, by the way, is I'm not sure if he's been able to touch the ball thus far this half. Looking through the halftime stats, Thomas Mendonca had 3 runs and 4 line breaks.
Yeah,
No, that's not. That's a real stat. But we will have proof of this happen, and we will show you this. That Thomas Mendonca had 3 runs for 91 meters and 4 line breaks. He got 2 line breaks in a single run. I don't know how it happens.
I think he's just that good, Mendonca. You know, I think he's someone that the Eels really have to look to. I don't know if I've ever seen a player make average 1.33 line breaks per run, but I guess Thomas Mendonca has done that. A record breaker there. Well done, Mendonca.
Perhaps they just don't want to give him the ball again, and that way they can preserve that one, and it'll probably stand in immortality till someone just somehow gets 0 runs and somehow still gets a line break, but I doubt that will ever happen. Either way, Kennedy there was snuffed out, and the ball took a bad bounce, and then allowed Harris to break through here, thinking there was a knock on. There was not. He got an offload out to Raymond, but Tim James swarmed him and ends up being tackled there about 22 out from the line to hand it over.
Yeah, it wasn't a last tackle play they really wanted the Eels, but Blake Harris made something out of nothing there. Got caught there in the end, though. But the Eels don't be too disappointed with that. It takes out any equation of the kick return, and they'll probably feel alright about that one, I reckon.
No, but James making him feel very less alright as he takes that runner past halfway. Adus over to Caval now. Well, has been brought on, of course. Caval and Charlie Rossini. Well, Barisic and Doyle Marshall both have been making their impacts felt already in this match, for better or for worse, since Rossini wasn't able to wrap up Cherry Evans by the time he got that rugby kick away, resulting in the Eels' only score. Either way, here's Arnold. Arnold had the least amount of ball of any of the Raiders. Only had 2 runs in the first half, and that time makes a strong one there. Oh, Leonidas had hit him. He was playing guard. Ends up striking him. Knocked on. No advantage, and that'll be a incomplete set handover.
Yeah, the Raiders, they'll be really disappointed with that, especially since the coach always tells you make sure you have your hands up, ready to catch the ball wherever you are when you're attacking the footy. And Leonidas was just basically just standing there, not really doing much of anything, and the ball accidentally came to him. The ball wasn't meant to go to him. He just dropped it cold because he was not ready at all. Disappointed there from the Raiders.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, it does seem like that again. They're just trying to run that blocker to try and make sure their half is safe, but it didn't seem like it was under much threat, so nothing to ponder for them later on. Wood is tackled, 35 out from the line. Harris will punt it down to the wing of David Amando. He was able to kind of break one off last time, but that time is immediately wrapped up there on the left edge by Russell. Here out to Mataus, over to Caval. I'll tackle right over 20. Of course, get the captain's armband back from Tim James, who was on. Wonder what will happen if they ever have to bench both James and Caval, but hypothetical for another time, perhaps. On a play to Rossini, out to Thompson. Allen tries to take on short. Can't get very far, though, until he gets those legs moving. Leonidas will try and take a run there against, I believe, Barisic, but not able to get much out of it. Let's see how they gather on the guard play this time around. That time they do hit Mataus. Mataus from outside the 40. Kick in, and Cribb ends up putting a step on, and he ends up beating Barnes as well. Will Cribb be able to get him? He does evade the tackle. The Eels might tie this up. Cribb under the posts, and it is a 2-point game with a kick to come from in front.
Yeah, great stuff there from Michael Crimp. Just turned Eli Barnes inside out. Not very often you see that happen. And the way he was going, Demando wasn't quite quick enough to catch up to him. And just like that, the Eels are about to be tidy. I can't believe it. Their attack was so dreadful in that first half that we always said the defense was sound. Their attack was bad. And they've just somehow clicked it together in this second half. And suddenly, Shimmy Remy gets this kick. They're going to be 12-all. What a turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just Crimp who just finally got himself a run and just sent it. And ends up being Raymond that ties the game up. Of course, Raymond and Kennedy, probably the 2 star players that you would have to say in that Parramatta backline. Everyone else is kind of there. Not many people talk about Freeburn or Russell. And Donker does get his mentions, but of course we did mention him just earlier, but he hasn't really shown out in this one. Will get us back underway here. 25 minutes to go in a tied game. Out to short. Tackled. There's a good one there. I think one of the reasons why I think it's happening is I'm not sure on deploying Charlie Rossini over to hooker. I think he might be better suited to the lock position. You see him there trying to wrap up Cherry Evans. Raymond there goes for a scoop, beats Leonidas. But one more, another Eels line break. Harris out to Barisic. That time it's a good wrap up though. Believe that's Ben Arnold out there. It is. Short ball, likely looking to. I think that's Harris there. Might have been Kennedy, but it goes to McKay. Is Harris, and Harris's kick is deep to the right edge. Bounces, end up eventually being gathered by Marshall Edwards, but the bounce caught Mendonca out of position a bit. Forced Kennedy to have to come in and make the tackle. 20 out from Beretta's line. He'll try and take the run on himself, but he is very immediately met. There for Allen. Allen right through a gap, trying to beat short, and try to beat Kennedy. Wasn't going to win that foot race. Rossini will give over to Mata, who swings it over to James and tries a centering ball for Barnes. They were ready for it, and it was Marshall that made the stop. Rossini out to Leonidas. Leonidas is through. He gets an offload out to Mata-Us. McKay got back there, made the coverage tackle. Will give him a huge opportunity here. 15 out from the Eels line. Take the lead back. Maivia look to run, puts up the bomb instead. No one really coming underneath it. It ends up being Russell that takes it. Work though by Maivia. Got back to his own kick. Made a strong tackle. Harris will have to take the run here. Does end up getting a good drive though, and not much going there for Parramatta on these first couple of tackles, but they might be able to mount something here with Marshall. Solid post-contact meters, but the line holding firm. Raymond looked to have a scoop, but just takes the step and run out to McDonald. Eventually wrapped up though. And this set looking to be one that they can make up here for Raiders. They can make this tackle, and they will. Very strong work there by Canberra in defence.
Yeah, again, it is defending well. I think both teams are not really letting each other get many opportunities here. You just have to take them when they give them, because there aren't many opportunities at all in this game. Very back and forth footy. And despite, the Eels not being the greatest team, Raiders haven't really had a test so far. This is probably the Raiders' first test. And the Eels haven't looked good so far. It's been a very quality match, though. Definitely not what we expected coming into this one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people were just expecting Raiders to absolutely blow the Eels off the plane, and this time it's just been evenly matched, and it's like the Eels may have finally found their solution to their woes, especially if they can potentially mount an upset here. Looks like they have brought on their last changes. It'll be Lewis and Lillard on. James will kick to the wing of Crimp. They decided just to avoid Mendonca. Brought down about 13 out from the line. Good work there by Maivia and D'Amato. Harris centering ball. McDonald is through. He's wrapped up quickly though. It looked like they'll changes too. Out there again to the wing of Crimp. He'll be tackled right on the 40. In there, Russell. Oh, McKay got in the way of it. Looking to try and cut someone else out, but he ends up regathering. Over to Harris, and now Ford. Ford will be wrapped up, trying to get further and further down the field against the tackle of Rossini, which looked not great. Now to Evans. Evans' kick is deep. Actually finds Edwards. Edwards puts on a stab, now trying to beat Kennedy once more, but runs into him. Well, another line break there for the Raiders. Laumo out to James, and now Allen. Like perhaps the Raiders might be able to mount something off the set.
Yeah, the Raiders are starting a better position than they've really had for most of the game. It's already third tackle though, and they're only just over the 50 metre line. It's definitely, whichever team gets the next big opportunity inside, full set inside their own 40 is going to go a long way to winning this game. Neither team has really been able to break this deadlock since the Eels' last try. As that's a great run there from Tim James.
Yep, He's got it out, but he throws one pass too many, and was looking, I think, to cut out Rossini there to get him over, but it's intercepted. Huge play there. I think that was... I'm trying to see who that is on that left edge there. As Marshall now making a man miss. Up just falling away, and he's brought down just near the 40. Now to Evans and over to Kennedy. Kennedy had a lot of room. Could he beat Barnes? Goose steps him, but the Goose step meant that they could catch him. Laumu ends up bringing him down 10 out. Huge opportunity for Para. McDonald wrapped up there by Tim James, but he pushed a couple close to the line. Raymond will look to Evans. Evans the grubber. There were players offside. It's Harris! Harris was in. The Raiders are blowing up, but the Eels may very well have hit the front.
The refs confirmed, but I'm not sure if I agree with the decision. We'll have a look at the replay to see if the Eels offside play had any impact on the play, but Blake Harris been in the media all week about wanting to leave the Eels. But right now he is a Parramatta Eel, and he scores what could potentially turn out to be the game-winning try and gives the Eels the lead.
Let's have a look at it again here. Oh, that's tough. I don't think there is, but he may have well just been inside the 10. Either way, Charlie Rossini again was thrust into the lock spot. Ended up conceding that one, debatably. Parramatta, with 14 minutes left, might very well have the 6-point lead, given, well, Levi Raymond has a pretty much as easy of a kick as you could take. And does.
Yeah, this is great stuff from the Eels. I'm actually just, I can't believe the Eels are in the lead right now. They've just been so, they've had such a great second half here, the Eels. The Raiders, though, we thought they would come out of, you know, I thought, to be honest, the second half would be much like the first half. Raiders just dominating, maybe a 24-0 scoreline, but the Eels have come out with full intent to win this game, and they've hit the lead with 14 minutes remaining.
Yeah, now, well, we've got a lot to worry about here, Canberra. It would be a huge upset win. Of course, you go look at the standings, and you would think this is the easiest money you could ever make. Canberra, top of the table, plus 44. Eels, second lowest, minus 20. The Eels perhaps have been underestimated, and they finally cracked the code on what works for them. Of course, they still have to hold out for another 12 and a half minutes, and, well, you could just look to South Sydney to show that how quickly the Raiders can score. They could just put them up. I mean, it was looking like a close game. I think it was 2 points, and then it spread out to 14 in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, in the last 10 minutes last week, 10 minutes to go, Rabbitohs were actually in front, 28 or 20.
Yep.
26 or so to like 24, and then in the last 10 minutes, Raiders put on 3 tries. We know they can score quick points in the late stage of the game. We'll have to see if they can hold out here, the Eels. It'll be a massive task. Massive task.
Yeah, especially against this Canberra outfit. Mataus out to Rossini. Rossini to Maivia. Got it out to Lewis. Making a good drive here, but only a tackle free. They're just inside their own half. Thompson out to Mataus. Trying to spread it wide. What doing there? Need a break here. Tua. Out to Barnes. Barnes a step. There's the break you wanted. Does run into Kennedy, though. Now where do they go with the kick option? Go to Mataus. Mataus, that kick. They're looking underneath it. Who's underneath it? It's Kennedy. Kennedy met there well by Tua. Get anywhere else. Over to Harris. Try to spread it to a wing of Russell. Tackled about 11 out from his own line. Hold him down here. It might give him a huge dose of field position. Settenberg. Tackle free is inside his own 20. Short to short. Out to McDonald. He's wrapped up well there by Lewis. Over to Evans. Evans quickly met there, though, by Tua. And Rossini in marker. Raymond goes deep. It's Luke Short the kick, and Luke Short's ended up putting that one quite nicely. Perhaps the half option isn't dead.
Oh!
Demando takes a shot there. An absolute walloping there. I believe that was from Barisic. It might have been Settenberg. I couldn't quite tell. Looks like until Settenberg, yes, it was, who just decided that kick return's going nowhere. But Rossini ran over Luke Short. How about a bit of comeuppance as inside the 40?
This is getting dangerous for the Eels. The Eels have to keep defending right now. The Raiders, they're in good field position. We know what power they have in their spine. One of the best spines in the comp. They've got to keep defending, though.
Yeah, but they spread wide there. Barnes got an offload out, but well-read McDonald shoved that down before it was going anywhere else. Barnes trying to get back into position to perhaps help out on the kick return. Lewis ended up taking a lot of football. Oh, it's free. McDonald takes it. And a 7-tackle set for Parramatta, starting right at their own 30. What a shot laid on.
The last tackle, I don't think Jordan Lewis was meant to have the ball anyway, but they just decided to take him out of the play entirely. We're not letting a space-to-pace situation happen here, as all their shots are being fired right now. I think that's the 4th big hit in about 5 minutes we've had.
Yeah, they are absolutely going after each other now, trying to put one another out of business. Kennedy ends up making the run through. About 45 out from his own line. Free burn over to Evans. Evans to Ford. Ford offload out to Short. Short is wrapped up there, just shy of a 30. No one really would have projected the Eels would be in this situation right now. McKay, offload inside Settendale, got it out to Short. They are spreading it like crazy here. Evans eventually to Freeburn, and they finally ended up putting a stop to it. But how much time has that taken off the clock, that play? Good work by the guards there. Cherry Evans, the kick, it's taken by Barnes. And it was both feeding goal. Can't put anything down on that one. 7-tackle set now for Canberra, but none of them have really been able to reduce that much.
Yeah, the Eels showed a lot of attack there. Though one player decided to flip it back to the other. We don't really see those types of plays in Rugby League 4, but it wasn't a kick there by Evans. It went way too deep there. The Raiders have a good opportunity now. The Eels just need to keep defending. They're still in front right now. And try only sets at the golden point, but I get the feeling with the likes of Thompson and Manaus, their great goal kicking ability, I don't think the Eels can risk taking the golden point. They just need to keep it in regular time.
Yeah, they'll have to keep an eye out for that as Tua breaks through another tackle. We did see another run there. I believe it was Rossini once again trying to burst. Here's Mataus. Mataus is wrapped up there, though. I think that's Ford in the tackle. Oh, that's a hold down. Decision time. They will take the tap. Okay. I was a bit worried there. We've seen worse decisions in this league before. Can't forget season 3, Penrith versus Parramatta. They opted to take the 2 when down 4. But down 6, they know they need the 6. Mardus out to Barnes. Probably a must-score set here right now because they would have to run the length of the field in very little time. Lewis, Lillard against McKay. Turned up. Be held up tackle 3. They will check this, but this will definitely be held up.
This is great defense still from the Eels. Barnes, Thompson, Mataus, Tim James, you don't know what attacking ability they have. They're going to have to keep on. One more set, Eels. One more set is all you need.
Yep, just got to hold out for this long.
Oh!
Mataus, Caval! The captain nearly spilled it, just picked it up before it hit the turf. Now Rossini over to Thompson. Is brought down though, and that's their main goal kicker out. They have to look to Mataus likely to make the kick, unless they go to another option. It is Mataus. Mataus a bomb. It's not where you want it. It is taken by Barnes though, but Barnes is forced back, and the Eels will take it and might end up escaping with this one.
Wow. A minute and a half to go. A set takes about 2 minutes. The Eels hold on to the ball, and I think they've won.
Maybe. We've seen sets take shorter time in this. Evans might end up being brought down here. He will. They've got to just quickly get up and make sure the play the balls happen as quick as they can. They can't let them stand right now. And that was happening with that McDonald tackle. Thompson needed to bring him to ground. Settenberg against Tua. They might get one play here. The Raiders might have one play. Evans is going to give it to them. He's going to kick it deep, but there's no one back there except Barnes. Barnes has to run 90 meters. He puts on a step. Can he beat Kennedy to the edge? No. It's been wrapped up by Mendonca, and the Eels have upset the Canberra Raiders. What an absolute stunner.
I am absolutely shocked right now. The Raiders came in as favourites by about 500 to 1 to lose this match. And somehow the Eels have produced the upset of upsets right here. 12-0 at halftime. Some special moments in that second half, and they managed to come up with an unbelievable performance, an unbelievable upset. I am just stunned right now.
Unbelievable finish. I mean, no one expected this. I don't think there was anyone that can reasonably say they expected the Eels to upset the Raiders. This has to be an upset for the storybooks. I mean, Brody Kennedy contributed beautifully. That 16 runs for 184 meters. Thomas Mendonca had 2 runs and didn't have any line breaks. Oh, what a shame. Still, Justin Barisic, though, with some great impact with his 2 line breaks on 3 runs, definitely set up some scoring opportunities. I feel like once that occurred, Raiders really couldn't have that much.
I mean, yeah, but Barisic, he had only 23 minutes he played, but I mean, we can't forget he took that run that, set up Brody Kennedy's first try and really got the Eels on the momentum. He has to take huge credits for his performance today. I think another guy's to the centre back, he played his role to perfection, just sort of 23 tackles, 0 missed. What a performance by him. And I think we have to talk about the halves too. Just running the ball beautifully. Cherry Evans setting up 2 tries with 305 metres kicked. What an effort. And Blake Harris, the smile of the media talks, 169 run metres there with 3 line breaks. He also had a very solid performance there from the Eels half.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable performances there from the Eels, playing well above their pay grade. Eli Barnes, 19 runs, 256 meters, and that missed tackle, but he will definitely rue. And I mean, the errors definitely came through there. 5 errors, 1 penalty. See it spread out between a lot of the forward pack. James, Leonidas, Lewis. That was my Vira Mata Oos. I don't have anything left to say here, honestly. I mean, I feel like I'm still trying to mentally process what just happened.
I'm shocked, honestly. The Raiders, the forward pack was just so quiet. Throwing out 31, the best forwards in the game. 77 run meters is all he managed to get out. Aaron Leonidas, 76. Luke Thompson kept the 58 run meters.
Yeah, he could never get himself going. And I feel like a lot of that was basically because he was giving off to Barnes rather than being tackled himself, but disconcerting to say the least.
And the captain, Cavallo, only played 41 minutes, but 33 meters is all he managed to get.
I feel like the Raiders grossly underestimated Parramatta coming into this, benching Rohan Caval, and as a result, we've ended up conceding this one. It's a very bitter pill to swallow, I'm sure, for Canberra, but Parramatta will be absolutely rejoicing on not only notching a win, but notching a huge upset win over the top team in the comp.
I think it's just a wave sent for the competition to basically say, don't underestimate the Eels. They will bite you, and that was an insane performance by them. And that was... You can't even remember 12 0 they were at half time. They couldn't get outside their own half, and then suddenly, the second half, they just kept on going, and eventually, they managed to just outpace the Raiders pretty much to win the match.
Yep. Well, after all of that, we've still got another game coming up. South Sydney versus Penrith. Right after this, with Lachlan Munn and all the SRL staff, I'm Ollie Pache. We'll see you after the break.